Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, September 2nd. We went and did yoga at 7:30 a.m. Yep, we're one of those people now. Cool thing is, my yoga studio is literally beside one of the best coffee shops in town. So I've got myself a large coffee. I've got myself a beautiful feta olive tapenade croissant. And we're in the studio and it's just before 9 a.m. Unit 9 has been a short and sweet little unit. Music business, record contract, record deal contracts, record contract deals, record deal contracts? What? It was pretty straightforward. And then as I said in my Wednesday vlog segment, the mastering classes was basically just an overview and the very first mastering lesson we've had so far. I'm feeling pretty good today. This week we've been able to work on a lot of music. Like I've been teasing, we got a huge opportunity coming mid-September and I'm trying to get all of my classic EDM remixes done. A little more of a hint, not going to tell you anymore. Yeah, today I really want to show you an update on keyboard techniques. I think we've come a really long way from the beginning, and I think it's time for an update. And I'll probably throw in some footage from one of my very first vlogs where I kind of showed you where I was at. To start the morning off, I think I'm going to work on one of my remixes. I got to do all my different sweeps and effects and stuff like that. And then we'll get on to that keys assignment. All right, it is time that I finally update you with where I'm at with the keyboard techniques classes. Every single week at Icon, we have a harder and harder keyboard playing assignment. It's been a while since I showed you just how good or bad I'm doing. I will admit, I have gone through this a few times. It's a rather difficult one. First things first though, I am going to throw in one of the very first vlogs that I did where I showed you my keyboard skills so you can compare that how to play an arpeggiation. And I haven't practiced this at all. I've just watched that video of the demonstration. And so I'm going to set up the camera and we're going to see how I do on the very first try. To now. Well, there you go. That is a pretty hard little arpeggiation with the bass notes, but it just goes to show, look at how far we've come. You know, I feel like my hands are just so much more comfortable on the keyboard. Lots of muscle memory starting to get built in. And look at how simple one of the first keyboard playing classes were compared to now. Let's see, we got 13 errors, 64 correct. That's pretty dang good for only practicing this a few times. All right, that's my little update on how the keys playing assignments have been going. I hope that gives some insight into the keyboard classes. Learning how to play the songs in these assignments is only going to help me create better, more memorable melodies. And most of the time we have multiple playing exercises a week. So lots and lots of keyboard practice. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, September 3rd, and we're having a really good morning. We met up with a friend, went for a good hour and a half or so long walk downtown, grabbed a coffee, chit chat, you know, stuff outside the studio. Yeah, I'm trying to schedule in things like this, get me out of the studio, taking a break from doing music and Icon all the time. I don't know about you, but it already feels like the weekend, not Friday. I guess probably because I finished all my coursework so quickly this week. I think today, I don't know, probably just gonna continue working on my remixes. I got a few other originals. I'm pitching some tracks to some vocalists. We got a lot going on, but this week in particular, the music has just been flowing out. A lot of the Studio Techniques mixing classes are really coming in handy. I'm able to clean up my sounds in a way that I just never did before. You know, whether I knew I was supposed to or I just got lazy, the way that I'm cleaning up my sounds now, on one side of the coin, it almost kind of feels like they become weaker, they become not kind of in your face. But I think I run into that problem when I'm soloing one specific sound and I'm trying to make it the best I can, rather than how does that fit in the mix? And what frequencies does whatever instrument or vocal or synth or whatever, what frequency is it supposed to take up? The puzzle piece is fitting just that much better. So yeah, I don't know, work on music, chill out, do whatever the heck we want. Sounds pretty freaking awesome. Well, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of the Friday Fireside Chat. Let's take a moment here to wind down from the week by taking a nice deep breath. In, hold, and out. That's much better. Today, we're doing something special. I started a brand new remix today. I've only worked on this track for probably about 6 hours, spent most of the day on it, and what I wanted to do was break down the process in which I do remixes. Let's start off with the idea and the inspiration. So lately I've been using a website called Label Radar. They are running an absolute ton of remix contests from really a wide variety of top labels. Not only are they hosting these remixes, but it's also a very handy tool to submitting your original tracks to record labels. Labels like Monster Cat and Armada. Inspiration for me comes almost immediately. I will see that there's a new remix contest, I'll go take a listen, and basically right away I either connect with the track or I don't. This particular track is called Daydream by Benny Benassi and the Bloom Twins. So I got an email here with this remix contest, and I thought, wow, Benny Benassi, I'm actually remixing one of his classic tracks. Let's give this track a little listen. I came over to YouTube and gave the track a listen, and right away, the bass line that I'll show you in my version, just so I don't have to deal with copyright, I knew instantly. There's a feeling that I get inside that I knew I wanted to remix this track. And you'll see, based on how much work I did in one day, how that inspiration, that intuition unfolds very quickly for me. Let me solo out the bass line. Obviously, mine sounds different, but it's pretty well the same notes. Let me show you a little preview of the vocal. I mean, how catchy is that? Immediately I was inspired and I knew that I needed to do something with this track. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how I started the track. So for me, it's a lot about melody. This track in particular had this groovy bass line that plays pretty much all throughout the entire track. Well, I had the idea that instead of using that bass line, well, I'm going to turn that bass line into a lead melody, and then I'm going to do something different for the bass line. And so, like I mentioned, how I started this track, well, that bass line from the original is what makes this track so memorable and so catchy. But I don't just want to copy the bass line, and you'll see how I've worked it in from that little preview I showed you. So we set out to do a lead melody. That's the idea that I had in my head. Let me just mute these bottom notes. This is kind of where we ended up based off of those bass notes. So once I had this idea, I could basically use those notes to create my bass line, which is here. And then it's like, okay, well now I need some kind of groove. I need some kind of percussion going on to really offset this. And I went ahead and I made this kick. Then actually, I just dragged in this hat loop, which I put a gate on so we would only hear the very main open hat. Let's take a listen. So once you have the progression nailed, it's just a matter of filling things out. I added more percussion. I added these bass notes here, these offbeat notes, to really give this lead melody some speed. Let's listen to that, and then I'll let you listen to everything. And here it is with the vocal. Finally, we're going to touch upon following my intuition. One of the sounds I'm heavily inspired by right now is the David Guetta Future Rave sound. There's a big difference here between following inspiration and, in a way, kind of copying the ideas and the styles, and following my intuition. Now you'll see in a sec, I have this crazy 808 breakdown. That's actually an idea I got shortly after the lead melody came about. I actually almost ran into some trouble here because I was thinking to myself, well, this isn't future rave enough. And then very quickly, I stopped myself before I head down that rabbit hole. And I went, who cares? It doesn't have to be. This is what resonates with me. And so rather than following a style, I went and followed my intuition. So like I said, future rave, such a cool sound from David Guetta and Morton. But the thing is, that's their style. I don't want to do that style. I want to do my style. My style is an accumulation of experience and what vibes with me. So originally I was making a lot of trance tracks, but a lot of that was emulation and I was copying a certain genre, and it kind of felt like I just needed to stay in that bubble. Following your intuition, and you'll see in a sec where that could lead you, is just so much better. Rather than thinking I need to make a certain style, I can just do whatever I want. In the beginning, as a newer producer, it was very, very difficult to do this because the ideas in my head were much better than what I could actually produce. There comes a time through practice and repetition where that flips around. So although that lead melody kind of kicked things off for me, this is what really brought the track together and really fired me up to get super inspired about this. Take a listen. Rather than going, oh, this isn't future rave, this isn't like that style, I can't do this, I went, this is a sick idea, this came out of nowhere, this is 100% my intuition talking. We don't need to care about that style. Let's get this idea in and see how it sounds.
Even if I stay, my heart will be somewhere else. Turn your GPS off. I don't care where you go.
Well, how about that? I hope that explains the difference between intuition and inspiration. Of course, using a reference track is always a smart thing to do to make sure that your sounds and your arrangement and your mix is up to standard. But for me, the difference is letting my own ideas really come to fruition, rather than listening to a whole bunch of that style or that genre and then going and recreating it. I can listen to a track like Daydream, start to get inspired, and then start to tweak things, start to experiment. I didn't know that turning that bass line into a lead melody would work, but I had the idea and I thought, let's just go for it. As I follow my intuition, the ideas just start to come. You know, I'm almost like pulling these ideas from somewhere else. I think that a lot of this comes with experience and practice, finishing many tracks. A lot of the stuff I was doing was emulating the artists I look up to. Now I'm just following whatever comes. Of course you could take that track, you could probably find a dozen just like it, but the big difference is that this track is authentically me because I just allowed the ideas to flow. There's a shift that happens. Instead of making what's popular or making what your favorite artist makes, you just start to do things for yourself. It's a really cool place to be. I hope that provided you with a little bit of insight into how I start my tracks and the process behind how I make music. Good morning, everybody. I am having a fantastic day on this Saturday, September 4th. Do y'all remember Dale from the Financial Questions vlog episode that I put up? He is an icon online program graduate, and we live in the same town by some crazy, brilliant stroke of luck. He came to the studio today. We're hanging out, listening to music, bouncing some ideas off each other. Really great. Really good time. Yeah, from like 9 a.m. to like 12:45. We got the DJ equipment on, we got the keyboard going. We are having a heck of a day, feeling really good. We just picked up our lunch, take a look at that. I don't think we're gonna do a huge sound design session, but we are gonna continue on this future rave vibe. Anyways, gonna enjoy my lunch, gonna watch Vander, and do some sound design. Welcome back to Sound Design Saturday, and what an epically busy, awesome day we've had today. Dale coming to hang out at the studio, working on music, listening to all his whips, and doing some DJ practice. We did a few sounds, not too many, just because it was later in the day. Some of these sounds, though, really big, wide sounds. I'm really liking them. Meet me over by the computer. All right, so I added them all into my Future Rave album. So we are just stacking our Future Rave sounds. I think I did about 6 sounds. Let's check them out. Number 1, Acid Pluck Lead. Next one, the Hard Pluck Rave Lead. Next one up, Lead Support Open Pluck. Next one up, Nice Pluck. Next up, Rave Supersaw Lead. A short and sweet Sound Design Saturday. We continue our sound design journey, and I honestly couldn't be more excited about where things are going. All right, that ends Sound Design Saturday for today, and the vlog for this week. Unit 9 of Level 4 done. Super excited for the last 2 weeks of Level 4.